So I want to get into a few more specifics. In the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot more information. We're going to be able to put some more updates on the website. Things have happened a little slower. Summertime, a lot of reasons for that, but we are fully committed for 2017 rally season. We have last Monday we had our first formal board meeting. It went extremely well. We should be able to be publishing that online very soon, so you'll be able to see the meetings, the minutes, who said what, what's going on. Next week we're going to be able to announce the full board, who's going to be on it. There's a number of people on the board that have, all of us have a lot of rally experience, and we have I think 3 former chairmen and former rally masters, and it's incredible to see how many people that we have that are experts, and our numbers are small, but there's a lot of experience. Our bylaws will be ratified. They're going to be ratified and approved at the board in the next few weeks, so you should be able to see those minutes. You can see our 501c3 formation documentation under our website under the About tab. The general competition rules of GCRs are now in their second draft. We actually did get a lot of feedback on, and we've changed some things already because we needed to think it through a little bit more, and it definitely helped to get feedback from people. We're removing section 7.2 as it was written. We're going to revisit how we can make that better, make it more applicable to the North American market. We have a lot of other information. The rally regulations are being formed right now. The first draft is almost complete. The technical committee is finishing the safety in the car classes and working on the competition elements. This draft should be out by the end of the month. Our media, working on our marketing media access information. We're going to have that has already been sorted out. We've got a few more things to work on, but everybody's going to see about how we're going to deal with our media access and the different levels of media access and how those will be managed. In the next few weeks, you should be able to see that. The organizer manual has been drafted, and we're working on getting the draft around to all the events. And our final draft is probably going to be out in the second week of October. So our October 1st deadline will be most likely the 15th. Our budget, we have a task force, a group of very experienced rally people working on the budget, and we have a lot of numbers on the budget, but there's been so many changes, and we're really trying to nail down our costs and make sure we're effective and that we can go 2017 and beyond and make sure we don't run out of money. So we're still on track for 2017. We don't have all the answers. We won't have all the answers by October 1st, but we should have a large percentage of what we need to operate and function for 2017. The biggest thing that takes us time is getting new people in and making sure that the right people are involved and that they have tasks and they are managed. And we want to go. We kind of want to go a little. We have to go a little slower than we want. I want to be able to open up and answer any questions that you might have. And once again, I'm kind of new at this. So
we have about 30 watchers and not many questions yet.
And one of the other problems that we may have here is because we decided to change it up a little bit and do it on the Saturday night, which maybe has an effect where Black River Stages is actually going on right now, so maybe that was a mistake. We tried during the week. We also had a problem with the West Coast viewers. We're having a hard time getting out of work, or is that what it was? They were still in at work.
So we tried to be more West Coast friendly with this call, but
well, you know, once again, this is new, and we're trying to do the right thing. We want to be able to be transparent. We want to be able to tell people what we're doing and how we're doing it. The biggest thing, as everybody knows, is the difference is we have a lot of experienced organizers running this now, and there's a lot of really good input. I'm very impressed. Now, my history as a competitor and as an organizer, it's helped a lot. But I know people, I have maybe 7 or 8 years of actual hardcore organizing where we have people involved that have 30 or 40 years experience. They remember before SCCA. It's humbling to work with these people when, they're remembering stuff that didn't work years ago and why it didn't work. And in some cases, it's like some of that can be revisited. Maybe it didn't work because at the time, the technology wasn't there. There's a lot of reasons why you can now revisit some things. Mostly when I see the group involved, I see people that have come from events that were suffering, and these people came to that event, and under their leadership, these events improved dramatically. So, I'm very confident that with their experience and their ability to be able to make this work, we're finding we've got the right people on the bus.
Justin wants to know if we are having any plans to pick up LSPR for 2017.
Well, at this point, Justin, LSPR is still under a Rally America umbrella, and so that will stay that way for this year. And as far as their 2000, anything beyond that, I don't believe I have an answer for that right now. I don't know if they have an answer for that right now. So at 2017, LSPR will be a Rally America sanctioned event.
16. 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yes. 2016 is Rally America.
We'd love them for 2017. We just don't have any answers yet.
It's a little difficult. The current situation where we are working to make our sanctioning body work better than anyone has ever done before. At the same time, continue a championship. So it's going to be challenging, I think. We used to refer to it as in-flight aircraft maintenance. It's when you are flying the airplane and you have to fix it while it's flying. It's kind of the same idea.
Robert commented, having a high level of experience in the organization is important and will make the difference to RA.
ARA.
Against, so he's like.
So I think absolutely. The problem that we've found for many years of doing organizers conference, every year all the organizers would get together and discuss what we need to do and how we need to do it, and what the sanctioning body can help us with. And usually it's issues where insurance, media, and other very similar issues every year. And we were taking this information as organizers, and these challenges will say problems. So we had actually concerns and solutions chart, and then we realized that we, the organizers, had all the experience. Why were we asking a sanctioning body to fix our problem? And it always seemed like that for the last 25 years, that the organizers were hoping that the sanctioning body would fix their troubles. But once, after a number of years, we realized that really wasn't going to happen. And so this American Rally Association was formed to try to alleviate those problems. Well, we have the experience. We can do a good job. And also, there's a lot of decisions that were being made by the competitors or by the sponsors. There's many things where the organizers were not brought in on this decision, and so the organizers had to suffer through some decisions were bad, and most of them I think they did pretty well in the past. And it's been over the years. It's been a number of people have tried to make rally work at the national level, and they've all had some success, and we're here today, so that means everybody worked really hard to get here. But I think with the economy and with things changing, I think we pretty much have run out of time to continue rallying without having the organizers in control.
So I'll put two questions together. Car classes for ARA, will cars be like R5 or more popular? And also, do we have any confirmation if newbies have to start in two-wheel drive, or what our plans are for new drivers?
Well, the question on whether we run the open class car, and then the second question is, do we allow anybody run anything or two-wheel drive? So the first thing is the R5. Of course, I want one. Everybody should have one. If I get elected president, I'll make sure everyone gets an R5. Just kidding. The problem that we're looking at with the rules are that's a lot of money for those vehicles, and only a certain number of people can afford them and run them. You could buy one, but then you can't afford to run it. A lot of the vehicles, when you say open class, what I say, lots of power, four-wheel drive, and lots of suspension travel. Most of these vehicles have to be made on a jig. Engineers need to make these. There's ways around it, but we're not sure if that's the right way to go in the future. So at this point, they're going to stay the same. But
2017 classes will be
2017 is going to stay the same. But I say, my own opinion, and I have to keep stamping opinion, draft, my opinion is it's not the best thing for the sport to have very few people running very expensive cars for points. So that said, the committee is going to do what's best for the sport. There are a lot of competitors out there that say they want to build these supercars. But if there's only 3 or 4 production, a super production car you can build by yourself at the showroom, bolt on parts, have somebody weld in a cage. It's a bit more complicated than that, but essentially all the other classes other than open class, a normal person can build this in their own shop with limited experience. So also saying that is any of these vehicles, if you put one of the top level teams in a super production car, they're probably going to win. Even though they have the same parts everybody else has and they bolted it all together, they will always spend a lot more effort on training, testing, and research, and they're always going to have the best components. So whether or not eliminating open class, we'll still have the most prepared teams winning. So I think in the future, there is no answer right now other than the cars will stay the same through 17, but we will certainly be working with the technical committee to try to do what is best for the sport. And there's been a lot of thought put into this already, and most of the people that I've talked to don't believe that the open class cars are the best for the sport. And the second part of the question was, should we allow people to run open class cars with limited experience or from other sports?
They asked if it's two-wheel drive. Or for new drivers for next year, are they having to drive two-wheel drive?
So at this point, for the new drivers, whether or not they drive two-wheel drive or not, at this point, there has also not been a final decision on that. This is also part of the tech committee, and get all the organizers involved and get the committees right, and maybe even we might need a task force. My original thought was, if we want to make world champions and we want to make the best drivers, then we need to let them stay in two-wheel drive for a few years, a number of events. I also did a little research after that and found that a lot of the people that went into open light class, which is all-wheel drive non-turbo, a lot of the drivers that were there for fun and they want to be gentlemen, what we call gentleman drivers, they're going to go fast, but they're not trying to win. They were perfectly fine in starting off in an all-wheel drive car. So if 80% of the people that drove an open light car didn't crash and didn't have problems, then maybe it would be okay. The problem is that when somebody learns on an all-wheel drive car, they're limiting their skills for tricky situations when they're coming interns that are too fast or decreasing radius or off camber. There's very tricky situations, and they haven't learned yet how to be able to manage that. So if they try really hard, if they're trying to win, and they never learn the old way, it could be considered, it could be a problem. And I've seen this happen myself. So my own opinion is that we'd be better off starting them all on two-wheel drive, but I believe the technical committee will find the precedent has been set, and it's perfectly acceptable to let people start off in open light if they wish.
Karen Jankowski asks, will you keep open class for 2018?
At this point, Karen, the open class for 2018 has not been decided. That's why I'm trying to encourage the people to hold off if they can for us with a technical committee to figure out what is the best thing for the sport.
And we're hoping to have those decisions at the end of this year, so they have a whole calendar year, right?
Yes. The timeline on that is it's going to be probably in December before we have enough time with the committees to come up with that conclusion. And if the more time we can give, the better, because there have been a number of people, and I would say it's less than 6 people that said they want to run open class. And it's one thing to say you want to run open class, but can you afford to do it for multiple years? And can you afford to do it if you're not winning? And there's a lot of people saying they want open class, and I think there's been also talk about let the open cars run an exhibition. There's also been talk about if you have a lot of suspension travel, then you need to limit your horsepower, and there has to be a factor on handling versus power. And I think if open class cars are to stay, there will have to be a formula that will limit the horsepower and or suspension travel. So we're still looking at this. I've talked to a number of teams, and it's still up in the air at this point. I wish I could give you a better answer, but hopefully by December we'll have an answer about the 2018 open class rule.
What's the first event on the calendar for 2017 with ARA?
Well, at this point, the first event on the calendar for 2017 we have not disclosed yet because we're still negotiating with other organizers. Essentially, we are putting together a package on the benefits, and to say by October 1st we will tell you what the schedule is going to be. It's one of the reasons for waiting for another 2 weeks is there's budget requirements. There's a number of other issues, as we're just talking about, technical issues. We have all the right once options. Last 20 years, I have met a lot of people from Texas that want to rally. I think the organizers are still, that used to organize the rally, are still down there. I don't know enough about if there's enough people to organize it, because on some events it goes anywhere from 140 people to put on a rally to some events have 500. So it depends on how the event is laid out. Is there enough people to run it? So I would love to see a rally in Texas, because when I was a younger mechanic in the Air Force, I was right next to Amarillo, Texas, and there were some great roads and rolling hills, and and I know that Texas could have some really good rally stages there. So up to this point, I don't know if there's enough people to do it. I know that Texas could have some really good
Technical
rally
difficulties.
stages. We're experiencing technical difficulties, whatever that means. I also want to say that we have a timer, and instead of having a sand dial, we have a Guinness can. And when the Guinness is cold, but when the moisture goes away from the outside of the Guinness can and it starts to warm up to room temperature, we'll be done with the interview because it'll be time to drink.
Mike suggested to look at the CRC classes and how the 2016 championship has looked. It seemed to has worked well and was very competitive.
The Canadians.
Yeah.
Yes, the Canadian championship is one that I'm really impressed with. Watching not just how they promote themselves but the Canadians have, I believe, I got to use this. I may be wrong on some of this. They took the FIA system and they modified it to work in the North American market, and that's where I've always said we needed to do. Try to stay with as close to FIA rules as possible, and that's what they've done. The Canadians, their rules on their cars are not too far off from ours. A lot of the events, over half of the events, are near Canada, or they're at the northern part of the States. There should be a lot more cross-border competition like we used to have in the North American Rally Cup. So I'm very excited to see us come closer to working with the Canadians, I think, than we've ever had. So you will see over time how the Canadians have simplified their car classes. They've made big steps in on how they modify their market and promote themselves. I tend to watch it on TV on my smartphone all the time. I love it, and I'm sure they could improve. And I'm sure that when I look at some of the marketing stuff that they do, they're not spending a whole lot of money. When I look at their administrative side, I think they have one person part-time, and they manage all the administration. I think, their stewards system that they operate and the way they operate in their GCRs, it seems to be pretty fair. They don't have too many unhappy people with the rules. So I'm very impressed with the Canadian system, and I hope that we can emulate a lot of what they do.
I'm still having a few issues getting these questions.
We're going to try to improve every time with our question and answer. Know that I'm not an expert at this type of thing, so I'm relying on the wizard, and he's winging it, I think. Once again, somebody mentioned last time, well, at least they're not spending a lot of money on video stuff.
At least the camera's not shaky this time.
We're better than we were. That's all we can do is improve on that. We have, and while I'm waiting for the next question, I just wanted to let everybody know that we've in the last 6 weeks we've gotten more people on board that are doing more work. So our committees are being formed, and then we're actually making decisions now. Things are starting to happen. It's a little awkward. I had my first board meeting as the chairman, and I started talking about events, and somebody reminded me, nope, that's not how you do it. Nope, that's not how you do it. So it's going to be a while, but I had a sense when we were doing the board meeting that this is exactly how we need to do it. We got input from the experts. We have an event that we can do that is set up so only one person speaks. You deal directly with the question. It's written down. There are decisions being made. It seems like I got a sense, as awkward as we were in our first board meeting, because I'm a mechanic by trade, so being the chairman of a board is new for me. I could see how well this is going to work when we work out some of the little kinks. It's really going to be epic.
Any Maine winter rally? Any potential Maine winter rally?
Well, the question of will we ever have a winter rally in New England again, the New England Forest Rally, I would like to see that. The biggest, what we had before was the landowners are quite happy with letting us in there in the winter. We have to plow the roads. And I remember the one time we had, well, Buffalo was running it, the plow bill was extremely high. Because these gravel roads are not managed in the winter. We also have snowmobile traffic on some. But the good news is we should be able to save in road repair. Whatever we spend on plowing will probably be less than the road repair. So I would like to see that happen. I think it would be a separate group other than the current New England Forest Rally Championship, the group. I think we'd have to have maybe a different chairman, different membership, because it's a different time of the year. It's a kind of a, even though it's the same landowners, you're dealing with snowmobiles, and the business up in the north is all snowmobile traffic, and so there's a lot of places where the snowmobile trails cross, and it may require, it's hard to put a lot of people out there to manage these crossings, and they got to stand out there in for hours at a time. So I would like to see it happen, but it's going to take a fair amount of work. The landowners have said they'd be open to it.
We'll take one more question because I guess everyone's having problems with us. Our stream is not going well either. So we'll do one more question and then we'll do better on the next one. Last question. How will the ARA get companies like Ford and other companies to start backing teams like Subaru does?
So the question of sponsorship is very important. I think in order for us to survive as a sport, we need to be able to provide a better value to the sponsors. So the sponsors just want to see their name out there. They want to be able to get in front of the fans at home and at the events. And we need to put value into the sport. And if you understand marketing, promotion, everything has a value. If you take an ad out in the newspaper, if you put your name on a stock car, everything has a value. So the rallying has kind of lost a little bit of value, where it's very difficult to find updates. It's very difficult to follow along a story. There's not a lot of web traffic driving. There's not a lot of spectators. The spectators are there are kind of scattered. There's not a lot of banners. There's not a lot of but the biggest thing is the traffic. That people that are involved in rallying are very high influencers. They are the type of people, us rally people, advise other people. So if somebody wants to buy tires, we say, oh yeah, buy those Michelins or buy those Pirellis. We have a lot of influence. So it's not like we only have 3,000 or 4,000 fans, and we might have 3,000 or 4,000 at home. That doesn't sound like a lot of numbers, but these are high, we'll say high worth. Our fans are the ones that will wear Under Armour gear, Oakley glasses. We drive nice cars. We're the ones that spend money.
Appreciate higher quality.
Yeah, appreciate higher quality. So I say we buy a $100 flashlight with a NASCAR fan buy a $5 flashlight. So what we got to do is at the events have better spectator areas, have it easier for people to find us online. Follow the stories, the drama, and the reality show type of drama that we have. Tim, he was out driving, and then first thing he got a flat, then he ran out of gas, and he hit a tree, then he rolled it, and then he got it back going again, and now he's third. These kind of stories, my mother's the co-driver, my father's the mechanic. A lot of the stories that we have, we never tell anyone. We need to start telling everyone. There's a lot, most of the sponsors really feel that there's a lot of content in rally, and it just never gets said. And it takes a lot of bit of effort, and it's going to take a bit of work. Now, another thing on the event, what about the announcers? We need announcers. We've done it before. It worked really well. The spectator experience needs to improve, not just from how to get there and the maps. The spectator, when you get to a spectator area, there needs to be a little bit of food, porta potty, the announcer with a lot of information, easy directions. There's a lot we can do on event, and I would think that most of it is going to be done before the event. And there is an incredible amount of stuff we can do, but it's going to take time and a little bit of money. And I think it's mostly we have the expertise, we just need to do it. And that their marketing and promotion committee is going to work directly with each event, and each event is going to have a problem. New England does a good job on VIP bus, but they don't have a super special. Other ones have great super specials, but no real other spectator areas that you can drive up to. So every event has something different. So we have our promotion and marketing committee to work with each event. Okay, you're having a problem with a spectator guide. You need a map. Okay, what do you need there? We don't do it the week before. We do it 9 months out. Okay, what do you need help for? We're going to have each event give us an inventory of what they have, and how many spectator areas, how many buses, how many people can you handle at a particular area? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And we're going to work with the organizers to try to help them improve their event. And that is going to bring the sponsors. And when the sponsors start to see a value, they're going to want to spend money, and they're going to look for people to spend money on as well as at the event. So I'm seeing promotion is going to be the answer to that question.
So yeah, we should do a video next week then, since this didn't work and we didn't get as much
All right,
time.
so we have technical difficulties, and we still have a sweaty Guinness can. So unfortunately, we are only about halfway through this, and it's probably going to be better if we just try to fix our technical difficulties and go back at this next week. Sometime during the week, I believe.
We'll send out another post.
We'll send out a post, and we'll see if during the week's better, and we'll try a few more things, and appreciate everybody that's on here and putting up with this. Thank you for your interest, and give us some feedback, and we're going to make this a lot better. Thank you very much.